James, tell us what's happening.
So earlier today at about 1 o'clock, we were transporting some rails underground down the shaft. And while they've been slung under the conveyance, they dislodged and fell down the shaft at 14 level, at approximately 14 level. So currently what we've been doing is we're doing a shaft inspection to check that there's been no damage to the shaft infrastructure and to make sure that there are no obstructions in the shaft. Following the inspection, we would, if it's safe to do so, we'll either hoist the employees at Thembelani shaft, or if there is damage to the infrastructure which prevents us hoisting them at Thembelani, we'll take them across to Kusaleka, which is the adjacent shaft, and acts as a secondary outlet for Thembelani. So we'll either of those options will be we'll use to extract them, but we need to conclude the inspection first.
So workers are in fact trapped?
They're not trapped at all. There's, as I say, there are two options to get them out. So we could get them across to Kusaleka, but we choose to rather keep them at the waiting stations where they've got obviously water, it's well ventilated, it's a big waiting area while we do the inspection. So no, they're not trapped at all.
But there are concerns, which is why you haven't gotten them out already, because this happened earlier already.
No, we are doing the inspection of the shaft, so we can't hoist them before we've checked whether there's any damage to the infrastructure, because that would obviously make it impossible to hoist them safely. So we need to do that inspection. If there is damage, then we'll take them across to Kusaleka and bring them out there.
So 1,800 workers to be precise. I mean, is there enough space in this holding area that you talk about?
Yeah. These mines are massive, and these are the areas where after the shift they come to wait for the hoist to be hoisted at the end of the shift anyway.
And just tell us, James, what else, how did this actually happen? What was the cause of this? Why are these people now in waiting areas? Give us the exact details as to why this happened, especially with 1,800 people underground.
As I said a bit earlier, we were transporting some rails underground or through the shaft using a conveyance. And while we were slinging the rails under the conveyance, some dislodged and fell down the shaft. So, they're fairly big rails, and we just need to make sure that there's been no damage to the infrastructure before we hoist employees.
And at what time did this happen?
About 1 o'clock.
And you're saying that the fact that workers are still there at 5:47, they're not trapped? Because, excuse my ignorance, it sounds like they are trapped to me.
No, that is an ignorant perception, because they aren't trapped. They, normally the shift would be hoisted between 1 and 5 anyway. As I said, they do have a secondary outlet where we can get them out, so they're not trapped at all. All we're doing is making sure that there's been no damage to the shaft before we hoist them. It's like a lift. You need to make sure that there's been no damage to the metal and the runners and the ropes before you hoist people. So there's no danger, no one's been injured, and we are able to get them out, but we are just making sure that the shaft is safe.
All right, so there were also about 1,000 workers who were trapped underground for more than a day at one of your gold mines in Feb last year after a power failure. Are your mines actually safe?
Yeah, because again, if you'd looked at that report last year, that was due to Eskom, two of their power lines that service our mines getting knocked over in a hurricane, basically a big storm. And because of that, we didn't have the power to extract the employees, but we got everybody to surface safely in the end. So they're totally unrelated.
All right, thanks for that. Appreciate it. James Wellstead from Sibanye.